Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another video. So I've just sat down, ordered my double double. I'm in an outdoor patio. My buddy's ordering a sandwich at another spot. So I'm sitting down, just having a good time, enjoying my burger in peace, not on my phone, not doing anything really. And it's a pretty busy thoroughfare. So the sidewalk has a lot of people passing by. And then I see somebody, she stops and she's looking at me and she's she has like this little face like eh, but with no teeth. And she's like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, what the?" I was like, "You gotta be kidding me right now!" So immediately, like, I got a little nervous. I perked up a bit, not because it was a woman, but because I knew what she was trying to do. She was clearly trying to hit on me with no teeth, and I was like, "Man, you got some nerve!" Like the delusion of some of these women, right? To think even though you're a homeless crackhead with no teeth, that you still got a chance with me is one of these absurdities of modernity that I'm like, I can't wrap my head around the fact that she would think that she had a chance. So she was obviously, her intention was clear from the very beginning that she was trying to make a move, trying to do something with me, right? And my biggest fear was, naturally I'm having a burger. My biggest fear is that she's going to try to, bite into it with whatever she can, or, at worst, sit next to me. And I just didn't want that. So immediately I told this homegirl, I was like, "Look, homegirl, like, I don't talk to women." And she's like, "Oh, you don't talk to women?" She's like, "I've been homeless for 15 years." And then she starts ranting about that. Well, I was like, "Look, I'm sorry that you were homeless, but get out of here, beat it. Like, where is your father? Where is your brother? Where is your husband? Where's your boyfriend? Like, where is anybody?" And to be fair, the funny part was that she had even though she was like a crackhead with no teeth and on the street apparently is what she claims is like 15 years or 14 years, she still had like a better physique than most of these tortas at the gymnasium right now as we speak. So it was just like fascinating that, the physiognomy of a homeless person, right? There's something about the survival mechanisms of being on the street. But nevertheless, that was my policy. And that's been my policy for a while now, is that I stay away from women. I don't talk to them. I won't argue with them. You can have your moral victory. I will, at the end of the day, have body parts that I could metaphorically stick into the world that you don't have. So go ahead and take your moral victory. Go ahead and send me to HR. Go ahead and think that you somehow beat me at some kind of argument. I'm just not going to do that. I'm tapping out from the very beginning. I don't want to have any conversations with women if I could avoid it. And I'll tell you what, this is a reality, is you should act as if you're already married. You should stay away from women because unfortunately the fatigue will set in. You will get tired of dealing with and coming across horrors of scarred women, of broken bodies. It was just like, it's just foul out here. And especially in the West, like, it's easy to get downtrodden and get blackpilled on the whole idea that, man, there's no good women out there, because unfortunately there isn't very many. And then you start digging around for them, you might just run into these types of women because that's what's kind of out there, unfortunately, for most guys. And most dudes, unfortunately, have to settle for that because they think that that's the only thing they can find. They've decided that this is the lane that I'm in. These are the options that are provided to me, and this is the route that I have to take. And so essentially, they just assume that that's all there is to it. And unfortunately, like, whole culture will take control of you. It'll, because I think to myself, when I was younger, like what I used to think when I used to come across these type of women was that I just kind of assumed like, damn, this is as good as it's gonna get. Like I have to kind of accept the fact that these are the terms of engagement, and as opposed to think to myself like, this feels inherently right in my gut. This feels very wrong. There's something about this that doesn't feel right. It doesn't sit well with me. Because you got to understand, I mean, I didn't have a moral compass. I didn't have a religious belief or a theological sort of mindset to kind of tell me, okay, this is how it should be. So if you're in the secular world like I was at the time, then you just accept that as like, well, this is it. This is what there is out there. This is the landscape of dating, is having to settle between this whore or that whore. And it was kind of devastating in many ways because I'm like, man, nothing about this feels right. All these girls that would tell you their stories about, oh, I had my whole face. Like everybody has their whole face, and it's just like utterly ridiculous that we have to accept this as like part of the rules to engage with these women. And it's just like, I just refuse to do that. And I think you should really take a minute to reflect and think to yourself, there's no way that this has to be the way I have to go through life, you know. And look, and if you're a good looking dude, and even if you're remotely good looking, if you're just not ugly, if you're bare minimum, right? If you're at least average looking, you are more of a commodity than a hot girl, because there's there's a lot more hot girls out there than there is good looking guys. So if you're even remotely good looking, which I can objectively put myself in that category, is that you are the standout. You are the the item, right? You're the hot stuff. You're the goods. Put that in your mind. Understand that you're the one that deserves what you deserve, because that's what these girls have told themselves. Unfortunately, is that they are the last Coca-Cola in the desert, and they operate as such. And so maybe you should too. Maybe you should realize that, in fact, that is actually true for you and not for them. They've just been bamboozled, and we've been programmed in the opposite direction. We've been told that we have to settle for these things. And so, like I said, my policy is just staying away from women. I won't even entertain the banter, really. I just stay away. It's just a policy of mine. And I've been happier ever since, I'll tell you that much. So look, unless you're out there with the intention of trying to get played, like, you have no really business even entertaining a conversation with a woman. And you'll be better for it. And I think it'll give you the distance that you need so that you don't have that onset fatigue. Okay, so that's the moral of the story. Stay away from women. I'll see you in the next one.